Hello everyone around the world. Welcome to Trudy's YouTube channel. Today's video, as you can guess from the thumbnail, it would be around how to apply for a visitor visa for New Zealand. It is one of the most beautiful countries, as you know, and we've already covered half of our journey throughout New Zealand. But I felt this is the moment where we can help you out for all the travelers who want to, self initiate or self plan their trip to New Zealand. This is one of the countries which has a very smooth visa application process, not like one of the Schengen countries where you need to get a Schengen visa and there is a whole lot of other formalities out there. The best thing about applying for a New Zealand visa is you can do everything online by yourself if you have all the documents ready. And if you have everything at your disposal, I think the visa would take max a month or 3 weeks to, arrive at your email. This is what I did last year, and I will just take you through the process. Let's jump onto the screen.
The first thing that you got to do is arrive at the immigration.govt.nz website. That is New Zealand's immigration website, of course. I will share the link in the description as well. Now, before going in, you need to have certain things ready. Obviously, that is one that you would need to have your passport size photo. The description of that you will also find in this website. What is the size of the photo that you need to have. Secondly, you would need to have your bank statement ready. If you're a working person, you will need to have your leaves approved for traveling to New Zealand. If you are a self-employed person, you would have to share your financial stability there as well. So there could be certain documents that vary from person to person. But obviously, major things would remain the same. So I would not take you through all the differences that might apply to different human beings here, but majorly around how to apply the visa and through the government website of New Zealand. Since we are going to talk about only New Zealand visas, we are going to click here, and then there is a very simple option here that is asking about explore and select a visa. So we are obviously going to do that first. You can, if you are aware of the process, you can directly dive into preparing a visa application. And if you also do not have much time to select everything and do that, you can dive in here. But I'm going to go through this for everyone's comfort and understanding. So the first thing it asks obviously is what type of visa you're looking for. So it says I would like to explore and select a New Zealand visa too. We want to work, study, but our purpose is only to visit. So I'm sharing this for all who want to visit New Zealand as a tourist or for a holiday. It's asking for the passport that you have. So obviously, since I'm an Indian, I'm going to start off with India. And how long are you willing to stay? Less than 3 months or more than 3 months? So I would expect most of you would stay less than 3 months. So I'm selecting less than 3 months. The main purpose of my visit, obviously it's holiday as I spoke. So we'll select holiday and then display options. So now you get all the different options that you have. Now New Zealand has certain regulations for certain countries where you just need a New Zealand Electronic Travel Authority, not a visa, before coming. So when you go there, you can apply for a visa when you arrive there. If you do not meet the criteria, you must apply for the visitor visa. This is a visa if you want to come to New Zealand as a tourist or just want to visit your family for a short course also, which is less than 3 months. Then you can apply for this visa. The criteria you must meet is that you are obviously a genuine visitor and they would expect that you leave the country after your visit. The second part is, of course, it is an expensive country, so you should have enough money to support yourself, and you must have a ticket to leave New Zealand, but that is not necessary before applying for the visa. You do not need to have a ticket like you do in Schengen cases. So you can apply without a ticket, and I did the same and I got the visa within a month. You also need to show that you are in good health and character. Now that can be received from any local visited authority, or if you're working for a company, if they can provide you a declaration that you are of good character and health, then you can go ahead and apply. Now, how long can you stay in New Zealand with the visitor visa? Depending on your plans, up to 9 months. Of course, if you're an Australian permanent resident, you can look at the New Zealand ETA. And one more thing is that you don't need to separately apply for your partner if you are going with your partner, wife, a friend, or even your dependent children. You can include them in the same application. With the visitor visa, you can also go there and appear for a job interview. So they allow that, and you can also apply for a work visa after that. So let's go and now apply. The cost of the visa, as it says, is 211 New Zealand dollars, but including certain other things, it arrives close to 281 New Zealand dollars. You will see where I get that information later on. Apply online, and it will take you to another website which is called Realme, which allows you to apply for the visa process. All of you who is applying for the first time will have to create a Realme login, just like any other login ID that you create for any other account. But here, since I already have a username and password, I'm going to use that to log in. Now, once you have logged in, you will come to this dashboard, which will give you a sharing ID, which is unique to yours. You can share this ID. People will need to enter your sharing ID in their online application in order to give you access to an application or network, or to nominate you as a sponsor. So if somebody wants to add you as a sponsor later on, or somebody wants to travel with you but you are the sponsor, then for their application they would need this sharing ID of yours. Thereafter, you would have all the visas that you have applied previously. So if you're coming for the first time, probably you won't find anything in there. I'll dive into my visa section. You would need to straight away dive into apply for a visa. Then you can find how you can pay through your credit card or debit card. You'd need a visa photo, of course, and documents to support your application. So what are the visa photo requirements? You can click and find out from here. This page will open the acceptable photos for a visa or New Zealand ETA. And your photo must not be less than 6 months old, and it should clearly identify you, obviously with a white background. These are the sizes of the photo that you need to have. Okay. The second requirement is the fee that you need to pay. So once you click that, it will give you the fees that applies for you. It also states how long it takes to process a visa. So if you click on this, it will obviously tell you typically it takes around a month or so. The fees that is required to apply the visa. To find that, you can select these options here. So what sort of a visa are we looking for? But we are talking about visitor visa, so I'll select visitor visa. It will then ask for the nationality of your passport, which is India in our case, the location where I am applying from. So currently I'm applying from India. Then the region where you're applying from within India. I'm in New Delhi, so I'll select New Delhi. Your preferred mode of submission. Obviously in our case it's online. And how many travelers? So in my case it was two, me and my wife. So it can be any of the dependent persons that you add. So let's just add two in this case. And let's see what's the fees and the receiving center. The application cost, it says, is $281. This is New Zealand dollars. Each person obviously has to pay an international visitor conservation and tourism levy, but that is included in the $281, which roughly amounts to, I think, 12,000 rupees. Let's just see what's the current rate. Yeah, it's 14,000. It took me somewhere around that only. If you have a zero forex card, which is readily available in India these days, then obviously there wouldn't be any fees on the forex exchange that you are going to pay. But if you use a credit card, a normal credit card, which has a 1 to 3% or 3.5% levy on that, then an extra charge will be added to your credit card bill. As it says, generally the processing happens within 3 weeks. It max might stretch to 4 weeks if you have everything ready at your end. You can reach out to these numbers, but this is a New Zealand number, so it might not be the best to reach out here. The best way is probably to email them. Coming back to the visa application, so this is the first question of your visa application, how it starts. Are you applying for a temporary visa or a resident visa? Since you are applying for a visitor visa, which is a temporary visa, we'll select temporary visa. And then, are you outside New Zealand? Of course. What type of visa do you want to apply for? A visitor visa. Are you a citizen or permanent resident of Australia or a citizen of a visa waiver country? India is not one of those. Select the purpose of your visit. Obviously, you want to tour New Zealand. You want to visit New Zealand for a holiday. Why do you want to visit New Zealand again? There are so many questions out there which is asking the same thing. I'm coming for a holiday and a vacation again. Now let's start my application. Now once you have started your application, they will give you a visitor visa general ID. And this is the application name and application ID that you would get. After that, obviously you need to add another applicant. So if you want to add another applicant, you can click here and add their information. Since you are applying, you need to be the primary applicant. So to update that, you need to click continue here. Okay, the first question it asks here in the next page, which is the identity details, where they would want to understand who you are. Do you have a mononym? Mononyms, it means that if somebody has just one term in your name, one name, rather than having a first name and a last name, then only you select this. So it's not in my case, and I think most of our cases we do have a given name and a surname, so we'll select no, and then they will ask your first name and last name. So let me enter mine. So they're asking, have you ever used any other names? No. The name that you enter must be what you have in your passport. Otherwise, there might be a delay in your application. So you need to be careful about it. Now, this is a little bit about New Zealand immigration history. So since I'm talking about everyone who is applying for the first time, I'll only answer the questions based on a first time visitor. So what country or territory will you be in when this application is submitted? Since I am in India, I will write India. Have you previously applied for New Zealand visa? We being the first visitor, obviously this is not our case. Have you previously requested an NZETA? No. Do you hold a permanent Australian visa? So we are not talking about Australian permanent residence here. No again. Have you ever traveled to New Zealand? For the first time, obviously it's a no. Now they will then ask for passport and birth details. So let me just type in any random number. Nationality in your passport should be Indian. Where is your passport issued? You would have to fill the rest of the details here. Then you would need to add the passport issue date. We can select a calendar from here. Let's just select 23 November, anything, and we'll put a passport expiry date of say 2033, and let's put something like this. Obviously it's asked for the gender as it appears on the passport, date of birth as it is written in the passport. So let me select any random year, and country or territory of birth, this should also be according to your passport. National identity number, you can add your Aadhaar card number here. Country or territory of issue, India again. Do you hold other citizenships? I would consider people who don't at this moment, so no. Then you upload a photo, enter your contact details, enter all the relevant details, then save and continue. I did not fill up everything there, but you can go ahead. Now, for the purpose of visit, I'm coming for a holiday, obviously. It also asks, do you have a membership with one of New Zealand's tourism partners? Let's select no for now. Are you able to financially support during the stay and onward travel? Yes, of course. Do you have prepaid accommodation? I would believe that some of us, and of course most of us, would be booking their accommodation in advance. So yes, so it asks for, do you have 400 New Zealand dollars for each person each month? So if you are say two persons traveling and you are going to stay for say more than a month, less than 2 months, then you need to count $800 for each person. Then it amounts to $1,600. Since we were only two and we traveled for less than a month, I think around 18 or 17 days in New Zealand. So $800 for the both of us was applicable. It amounts to somewhere around 40,000 rupees. What is the evidence of onward travel will you provide? Since you do not want to provide a ticket and it's a very risky option, you would have to show that you have sufficient funds to purchase travel. You stay in New Zealand, do you require multiple journey visa? Like, do you need to have multiple entries? Like, if you want to go back to say Australia and then come back to New Zealand, then only you select this. In my case, it wasn't. So if you're going to New Zealand, it itself is quite expensive. I'm considering people who are real travelers who want to explore the country in detail. So probably you will devote enough time to just visit New Zealand. We'll select no. What is the estimated date that you want to arrive? You do not need to have an exact date when you arrive, but at least a month should be somewhere nearby. So like in my case, I went there late March 2023, but when I applied, my initial plan was to go in early March. So I shared that date. I'll say let's choose September. It asks about anybody if you have a child traveling with you who is under 16. A kid planning to stay in New Zealand for more than 12 months, they must have a permission to travel with just one parent. So now that you have all the information here, if I consider that there is no one under 16, you can select this and then go ahead. Regarding character, they will ask certain questions about have you been convicted or anything. I did not need to provide any criminal declaration or something when I got the visa. So I just selected no in this case. Are you wanted for any questioning? So if you have a clean record, you do not need to worry about it. I'll take you through with clean record character. Certain other questions, because they are very health conscious and environment conscious, so there will be a few things that they will ask, like did you ever have tuberculosis, any medical care that you need during to stay in New Zealand, like how long do you plan to stay in New Zealand. If you are in New Zealand, this includes the time you already spent here. So if you are in New Zealand and you're applying for this visa, then obviously you need to include that, but since you're applying from a separate country, let's select 1 month or less. Have you had any medical examination for your current visa application? Let it be no for now. And are you working? So let's consider that we are working. This means that you are working with a company or you are self-employed. Your start date, when you started working with that company, what is your role, what is your country of work, what is your territory, where your organization is based. Is it an Indian company or a company outside of India? Name of your organization, you need to have your employer's phone number and so for their contact and email address, and then continue. Once you add all this, it will ask about your relationship. So your partnership status, are you single, married, whatever. Let's consider married couple as it is in my case. If you are single, obviously you can select that. Um, Current partner, is your partner included in this application? Obviously you want to include if you're married, if you want to travel with your wife, of course. And then do you have contacts in New Zealand? I'm considering somebody who does not have any contacts like me. And then save and continue. Next, for immigration assistance, are you completing this form on behalf of someone else? You'd obviously select no since you're doing it by yourself. Have you received any assistance or immigration advice relating to this admission? Let's say no, because I'm not an immigration consultant And once you dive into the next page, you need to check and give the options of your language in which the documents are there. Let's consider if all of them are in English. You select yes. Your passport should be added here. Your national identification card. That means if you have the Aadhaar available, you need to upload that. Whatever language it is, you can select. Your household registration. If you have any house in your name, you can add your registration of your house here. Are you living in a country that is not your country of citizenship? So you can answer based on your state. And purpose of visit evidence. So if you have evidence of a plan or an itinerary that you can prepare by yourself, also a New Zealand itinerary, but it should look genuine. Like this is the date that you're traveling and this is the date that you're living. These are the places that you want to travel. So I had created a plan for myself. I will share that later on. I will share a plan about how you can visit from Auckland to Queenstown, from the North Island to South Island, or the reverse plan that I did. But that will be for a later video. So keep following us. Do subscribe to our channel and follow us on Instagram. Evidence of genuine intent. So for genuine intent, obviously they would ask for leave from your work. So if you're taking a leave from your employer, you'll need to attach a declaration from them. If you feel that there is other evidence that you can show, please do. For sufficient funds, obviously you need to provide your bank statement or any other mode of information. Like if you can provide your credit card statement also, it's okay. Evidence of prepaid accommodation, any other evidence that you want to add, declaration, save and continue. And then so after reviewing everything, you would just need to declare. So if you get this message, then you need to go back and check whatever is missing, complete the application yourself, then go ahead and pay, and that's it. You're done for the application, and just wait for say 3 or 4 weeks and the visa will arrive at your email.
So that's it for today. If you have any further questions regarding New Zealand visa application, you can let us know in the comment section, or you can reach out to us through our Instagram handle, that is @trudies.live. And yeah, have a great day and hopefully you plan well for your New Zealand trip.